Hello. So, life has kind of gotten away from me in the last little bit. I became an aunt this weekend. So, I think I'm just going to do a breakdown of the last 3 books in the Bridgerton series and then take a look at the second epilogues. Because, well, I love the second epilogues, and it's always wonderful to revisit your favorite characters and see how they are, sometimes decades down the line. In the case of some of these, the true standout of the specific second epilogue book is Violet's story, Violet and Hyacinth. It's so sad, but so rewarding and just an amazing look at I don't want to say overcoming, but dealing with grief in a different way and really, really looking at it. So let's look at the last 4 books, 3 technically, spoiler free, and then we'll put up the spoiler wall and we'll talk about them. So, number 1, When He Was Wicked. So, as you go through the books, you don't see a lot of Francisca, and that's because she married fairly young, and unfortunately, a year or so into her marriage, her husband passed from a brain aneurysm, and the first couple chapters deal with that. And her husband's father was a twin, and so his son and his brother's son grew up very, very closely together. And when her husband passes, it falls to his cousin, and he feels incredibly guilty because, as you see in the first couple chapters, he's in love with Francisca, and he feels like he's getting everything that was his cousin's, and it doesn't belong to him, all that. So he kind of runs away to India. He kind of runs away to India, and then Francisca calls him back, I think, and then you deal with them. So that's When He Was Wicked. Takes place, most of it, in the Scottish Highlands. And it gets interesting. So we'll talk about that in the spoiler part. But that's a basic breakdown of them. Now, It's in His Kiss is Hyacinth's story, because girls married earlier than boys. And, oh my goodness, if you want a good mystery with your romance novel, because she marries, I want to say James Sinclair, Viscount Sinclair. And his grandmother was Spanish, and she hid something in his house somewhere, a fortune in diamonds. And most of the book is them trying to find it. And there's some other stuff with them, but it's just, Hyacinth's so cute, and she meets her match, and it's wonderful. And then in the spoiler section, I will talk about the ultimate upheaval for her, especially in they are little shits like her. It's wonderful. Then, the last official book in the Bridgerton family, the immediate 8, because she's actually gone and done some books about the previous generation, which are amazing, and I'll have to cover those, is On the Way to the Wedding. So this one's really great to see all of everybody come together. Like, you get to see Daphne further down the line. Colin's a really big part of this, and I love it. And it's about Gregory, and he's grown up seeing his siblings find true love. His mom had true love, so he's looking for that, and he thinks that he's found it in this one girl, but fate has a different plan for him, and he ends up with that girl's best friend. And it's so funny, and I love it. And I love the last chapter, which I'll get into later, but it's just so funny. It's great. And just his optimism is really, really wonderful. It's just great. So that's Gregory. It's Gregory. Now, second epilogues goes through every single one of the other Bridgerton books, and then it talks about Violet post her husband's death, while she was still pregnant with Hyacinth, and kind of deals with that. I don't know if we'll go into spoilers for that, because they're just really, it's really a short story, and it's just beautiful. beautiful. And I love it. So I'm going to throw up the spoiler wall, and then we'll touch briefly on everything else. And then I'll get back to being an ant because he's so cute. Alright, spoiler wall down. This one has the kinkiest sex. Now, if you're grading these based on, well, I want to read softcore porn, bye-bye. These aren't for you. This is not a level of romance novels. By the time she wrote these, she's an established enough author. She does not need the sex for the shock value and the money. But of the Regency, not her first couple ones, this one gets the kinkiest, which is insane much. Honestly, for Regency romance novels, not saying much. And honestly, theirs is the sweetest on like a different level because they're both having to deal with her husband's death, their cousin's death, and kind of finding comfort in each other and learning to deal with it with each other and really finding support and love. And it's just wonderful. Now, nope, wrong one. Miss Hyacinth is hilarious. She has grown up to be just as much of a hellion as she was when she was little, falling and chasing Gregory around and making Simon fall into the, not the Thames, the other one. Can't remember what it's called, but making him fall into there. And James Sinclair is more than a match for her. And their children in the future are just as much shits as they are because they're trying to find these diamonds that his aunt hid and trying to follow all these clues. They hit a roadblock and they don't realize to hide them from her husband. She hid them in the nursery bathroom. And honestly, the way that the book lays it out in the end about how it's decorated, you're like, oh, that would have been obvious. Like, if the clues point to a bathroom or a personal, tear apart every damn bathroom. Just tear apart all the bathrooms. Like, but she doesn't, and then her daughter hides them from her, and it's really funny. It's just a really cute, like, tee, sucks to be you. So that's Hyacinth. And then you got Gregory, rounding out the end. And honestly, the ending is so cute. Because him and Hermione end up... No, Hermione's the other girl. I don't have the backs of them, so... And I was too tired and just want to go back and see my nephew, my little bean. But I didn't bother to look it up. But him and his wife end up having 10 kids. And it's just... The rendition of how it happens is just so cute and so funny that it's just adorable. It's just adorable. So, those are my takes on the last 3 official books and then the second epilogue book of the Bridgerton series by Julia Quinn. I highly, highly recommend them if you want a good laugh, a good chortle. She is a very funny writer. It's awesome. And a good insight into just normal Regency life. And usually there's something a little medical. So, like, especially within its Kiss, that deals with malaria. I didn't mention that at all. That's a big part of it. But different medical things, different little things like that. And she's just hilarious. Give her a go. It is worth the read. It is worth the $10. It's wonderful. I love her. I love her sincerely. So take a break, time for yourself, and read some Julia Quinn. Thank you, and I think I might put a little taste of my life at the end of this. So have a good day.